Ladies and gentlemen, there is a certain naivety in the world today, a belief that evil must always be obvious, that the wicked must announce themselves with fire and brimstone. But I tell you now, the most dangerous demons do not crawl from the shadows. They walk beside us. They smile. They pretend to love us. They do not arrive with fangs bared. No, they are far more insidious. They infiltrate through a whisper, a suggestion, a planted seed of doubt. They twist reality until you are questioning your own sanity. These are not creatures of myth or legend. They exist in the words of those who claim to care for you, in the manipulations of those who seek to control, in the slow, deliberate erosion of your spirit. Not all demons have horns and glowing eyes. Some wear familiar faces, ones you have loved, trusted, and shared your life with. The greatest trick darkness ever played was convincing the world that it only exists in the shadows. But in truth, it is far more cunning, far more patient. It does not announce itself with fire and brimstone. It arrives quietly, gently even, slipping into your world through the very people you hold dear. A demon, in its most insidious form, does not come to you as an enemy, but as an influence, subtle, slow, corrosive. It is the voice that plants seeds of doubt in your heart. It is the presence that makes you question your worth, your reality, your very sense of self. These forces do not scream for attention. They whisper. They manipulate. They weave their poison so delicately into the fabric of your relationships that you may not even notice the damage being done until it is too late. Pay close attention to those who drain you. Have you ever left a conversation feeling smaller, as if the very essence of your being had been chipped away? There are people who thrive on control, who feed off your confusion, who relish in making you doubt your own mind. They are the ones who never rejoice in your successes, but are quick to remind you of your failures. They wear masks of kindness, but their kindness always comes at a cost. They demand gratitude for every favor, obedience for every word of advice. Their love, if you can call it that, is a tool of manipulation, not a gift freely given. Beware of the ones who never take responsibility for their actions. They are always the victim, the misunderstood, the wounded. Nothing is ever their fault. The world has wronged them, and you, they will insist, owe them something. Your time, your loyalty, your energy. They will spin lies so seamlessly into their truths that even when you catch them, you will hesitate to call them out. They will make you feel guilty for even thinking they could do wrong, and so you forgive. Again and again you forgive. Demons are not always cruel in the way you expect. Some are charming, soft-spoken, even affectionate. But watch closely. Do they turn on you when you set boundaries? Do they grow angry when you refuse to play by their rules? Do they lash out when you begin to reclaim your strength? That is when their true nature reveals itself. And so, what can you do? Recognize. Resist. Do not try to change them. Darkness does not seek redemption, only control. Do not waste your breath arguing with those who twist the truth. Instead, stand firm, hold your ground, protect your light. Some battles are not fought with words but with distance, and if you must walk away, do so without fear, for the only power they ever had was the power you allowed them to take. Darkness rarely announces itself with a roar. It prefers the whisper, the suggestion, the slow erosion of truth. The most dangerous demons are not the ones we see in stories, with their grotesque forms and monstrous intent. No, the real demons are far more patient, far more subtle. They wear the faces of those we know, those we trust, those we love. They move among us unseen, not because they are invisible, but because we refuse to see them. Corruption does not happen in an instant. It is a gradual process, a slow poisoning of the mind and soul. The people who harbor darkness do not demand control outright. Instead, they plant doubt, one seed at a time. They make you question what you know, what you remember, what you believe. They twist reality until you are left wondering whether the fault lies with them or with you. It is never an attack. It is an influence, a presence that gnaws at the edges of your perception until you no longer recognize yourself. These individuals do not create chaos with wild gestures or loud proclamations. They do it with small, calculated actions. A lie told so convincingly that you second-guess your own memory. A manipulation so expertly disguised as concern that you feel guilty for resisting it. A bond that feels more like a chain. A love that feels more like an obligation. The most dangerous demons do not seek destruction. They seek control. Pay attention to those who always seem to drain you, you know the feeling. Being in their presence leaves you exhausted, uncertain, weakened. No matter how much you give, it is never enough. They demand your time, your attention, your emotional energy, and yet you are left with nothing in return. Their needs always come first. Their problems always outweigh yours. And should you dare to assert yourself, to take back even a small part of your independence, you will see the shift. The moment when their charm fades, when their patience wears thin, when their mask begins to crack. But the greatest danger lies in their ability to wear innocence like armor. They are never the villain in their own story. They are always the victim, the misunderstood, the wounded. They will cry injustice when confronted, shift blame when accused, and rewrite history to suit their narrative. And you, if you are not careful, will find yourself apologizing for things you never did, atoning for sins you never committed. So how do you fight such unseen battles? Not with confrontation, for demons thrive in conflict, not with reasoning, for they twist logic to suit their needs. The only true defense is awareness. See them for what they are. Recognize the signs. Stand firm in your truth, and when the time comes, do not hesitate to walk away. Because the most powerful weapon against darkness is not anger, not hatred, but the unwavering light of self-awareness and strength. Let them scream, let them rage. Just do not let them pull you into their abyss. There is a common misconception that evil must be loud, that it must rage and burn and declare itself with fury. But true darkness is far more patient. It does not rush. It does not need to. It works in silence, in small, careful steps, never asking for too much at once, never revealing too much at a time. Before you know it, you are entangled, wrapped in a web so finely spun that you do not even realize you are caught. Manipulation is an art, and those who seek control over others have mastered it well. They do not demand, they suggest. They do not force, they persuade. They do not tell outright lies. They distort the truth just enough to make you doubt what you know. These individuals do not seek to break you all at once. That would be too obvious. Instead, they chip away at you piece by piece with words wrapped in care and concern, with affection that comes with unspoken conditions. And when they take from you, it will never seem like theft. It will feel like a debt you owe, a price you must pay for their love, their approval, their presence in your life. Look closely at those who always leave you second-guessing yourself. They will never directly tell you that you are wrong, but they will plant seeds of doubt. Are you sure that's what happened? Maybe you misunderstood. You always overthink things. Little by little, they make you question your own reality. And once they have that power over you, once they have you looking to them for clarity, they know they have won. These individuals thrive in chaos, but never their own. It is always your life that is in turmoil, your emotions that are unstable, your reality that feels uncertain. Yet somehow, they always remain steady, always in control. They are the calm in the storm that they create. They push, they provoke, and when you react, when you finally snap, they tilt their head and sigh. See, this is exactly what I mean. You're too sensitive. You're too emotional, and suddenly you are the problem. Suddenly you are the one apologizing. But the most dangerous demons are not just those who bring conflict. Some are quiet, subtle, almost impossible to detect until you take a step back and see the patterns. Look for the ones who keep you small, who discourage you from growth, the ones who subtly belittle your dreams, who mock your ambitions, who find a way to make every achievement feel insignificant. Their control is not through force, but through erosion, eroding your confidence, your self-worth, your independence. The solution? Awareness, strength, distance. Some battles are won not by fighting, but by refusing to play the game at all. You do not owe your energy to those who drain you. You do not owe your loyalty to those who manipulate you. Walk away when necessary, and when you do not look back. Not all demons need to raise their voices to be heard. Some prefer silence, working in the shadows of your mind, reshaping the way you see the world, reshaping the way you see yourself. They do not destroy in one sweeping motion, nor do they strike with obvious malice. No, they are far more insidious. Their power lies in patience, in persistence, in the slow and deliberate unraveling of your certainty, your confidence, your sense of self. At first they will seem harmless, even kind. They will wear the mask of a friend, a mentor, a loved one. They will say the right things, offer the right support, and create the illusion that they have your best interests at heart. But watch carefully, for the true nature of such individuals is never in their words. It is in the patterns they weave, in the subtle ways they bend the world to their will. These demons do not simply lie, they make you doubt the truth. They do not simply control, they make you believe you are choosing to obey. They do not simply manipulate, they make you feel as if you are the one at fault, as if every struggle, every setback, every piece of suffering in your life is a burden of your own making. I was only trying to help, they will say. I care about you, but you make it so difficult, and so you try harder. You bend, you adjust, you break yourself to fit their expectations, never realizing that no matter how much you change, it will never be enough. A demon does not seek to lift you up, it seeks to keep you down. These individuals thrive when you are small, when you are uncertain, when you are too dependent on them to see beyond their influence. Pay attention to the ones who subtly chip away at your ambition, who make light of your dreams, who discourage your growth under the guise of protecting you. They will say they are only looking out for you, that they only want what is best. But the truth is far simpler. They fear the moment you realize you do not need them. But make no mistake, once you recognize them, they will resist. They will turn your awareness against you. They will claim you are being unfair, that you are imagining things, that you are ungrateful. They will fight to hold on to their influence because it is the only power they truly have, and that is where your strength must rise. You do not fight demons with anger, nor do you waste your breath trying to make them see reason. Instead, you reclaim yourself. You stand firm in your truth, in your knowledge, in your worth. And most importantly, you walk away. Not with hatred, not with resentment, but with the quiet certainty that you are no longer theirs to control, and that, in the end, is the only victory that ever truly matters. Some battles are not fought with swords or fists, but with awareness, with a quiet realization of truth. The demons that walk among us do not come with fire and fury. They do not need to. They work in silence, in patience, in carefully crafted illusions that keep you bound in place. They are not monsters in the way you expect. They are familiar, trusted, even loved. And that is what makes them dangerous. To see them, you must look beyond the obvious. You must pay attention not just to what they say, but to how you feel in their presence. Do they leave you drained, confused, uncertain of yourself? That is no accident. These individuals thrive on control, but not in the way of tyrants. They do not demand obedience. They make you believe that giving it is your only option. They do not force you into submission. They make you feel as if you are the one at fault, as if the only way to make things right is to bend, to yield, to give a little more of yourself until there is nothing left to give. And what do they offer in return? Empty kindness, conditional affection, a love that is always just out of reach. Their approval is a game you can never win, a prize that vanishes the moment you come close to grasping it. They will say they care. They will insist they only want what is best for you. But what they truly want is power. Not over the world, not over great things, but over you. The hardest part of recognizing these demons is accepting the truth that someone you love, someone you have trusted, does not have your best interests at heart. The mind resists such realizations. It searches for excuses, for reasons, for justifications. They didn't mean it that way. They're just going through a hard time. Maybe I'm the problem, and that is how the cycle continues. Because the greatest trick they play is making you doubt yourself, making you believe that the chains around you were of your own making. But here is the truth. You are not imagining it. The exhaustion you feel, the weight pressing down on you, the quiet voice inside telling you something is wrong, you must learn to trust it. Because once you see the pattern, once you recognize the signs, the spell begins to break. And that is when the real test begins. Because these individuals will not let go easily. They will resist, they will manipulate, they will do everything in their power to pull you back into their grasp. They will play the victim, twist the story, turn others against you if they can. They will remind you of the good times, of the laughter, of the moments that made you believe in them. But remember, those moments were never real. They were tools, carefully placed, carefully used to keep you from seeing the truth. So when the time comes, do not hesitate. Walk away. Not with anger, not with hatred, but with the quiet strength of someone who finally sees clearly. And never look back. There comes a time when you must ask yourself, is this connection lifting me, or is it holding me down? Not all chains are made of iron. Some are woven with guilt, with obligation, with the quiet manipulation of someone who never raises their voice, but somehow always gets their way. The most dangerous demons are not the ones who rage and threaten. They are the ones who smile, who whisper, who plant doubt like seeds, and wait for them to take root. It is easy to assume that evil is something external, something distant, but in truth, it is often closer than we realize. It is in the friend who never truly celebrates your success, in the family member whose love feels conditional, in the mentor who claims to guide but only seeks to control. These people do not harm with violence or open cruelty. Instead, they wear you down, a little at a time, until you no longer recognize the person you used to be. Have you ever noticed how certain people always seem to leave you feeling exhausted? How a conversation with them feels less like an exchange and more like a test you did not study for? How no matter what you do, you are always the one who is wrong, always the one who must change, must fix things, must do better. That is not love. That is not care. That is control. These individuals thrive in uncertainty. They twist reality so that you never quite know where you stand. One day they are kind, supportive, warm. The next they are distant, cold, dismissive. And when you ask what has changed, they make you feel foolish for noticing. You're imagining things, they say. You're too sensitive. And so you question yourself. You second-guess your own instincts. And that is exactly what they want. Demons do not break you in one swift motion. They do it piece by piece. They chip away at your confidence, your independence, your ability to see the world clearly. They keep you trapped, not with force, but with confusion, with the hope that if you just try a little harder, if you just love them a little more, things will go back to the way they used to be. But here is the truth. The person you are trying to please never truly existed. It was always a performance, a mask designed to pull you in and keep you there. So what do? You recognize. You resist. And when the time comes, you walk away, not with apologies, not with explanations. Because people like this do not seek to understand, they seek to control. And when they realize they no longer have that power, they will rage, they will beg, they will promise change. Do not believe them. The cycle does not end because they decide to be different. It ends because you decide you deserve better. There is a moment in every life where a choice must be made, to remain bound by the unseen chains of manipulation or to break free. It is not always an easy choice. The most dangerous demons do not appear as threats. They appear as those we trust, those we love, those we once believed would always have our best interests at heart. And that is what makes their influence so difficult to recognize, so hard to escape. But the truth cannot be hidden forever. One day the mask slips. It always does. Perhaps it is a moment of clarity, a realization that something has been off for a long time. Perhaps it is exhaustion, the weight of always being the one to bend, to yield, to sacrifice. Or perhaps it is just a quiet voice inside, one that has been silenced for too long, whispering, "This is not how it is supposed to be." And so you begin to see. You see how they twist the truth, how they turn every confrontation into a reason for you to doubt yourself. You see how their kindness is not freely given, but something you must earn, something you must fight to keep. You see how every time you try to step away, they find a way to pull you back, sometimes with guilt, sometimes with promises, sometimes with anger, but always with the same goal, to keep you in their grasp. These individuals are masters of control. They do not strike with force, because force invites resistance. Instead, they use subtlety. They plant guilt in your mind, convincing you that you owe them something. They remind you of the past, of moments that once felt like love, making you wonder if perhaps you are the one who has changed, if perhaps you are the one who is being unfair. And that is how they keep you bound, not with chains, but with doubt. But here is what they fear most. The day you stop questioning yourself, the day you finally listen to that quiet voice inside, the day you realize that love, real love, is not something that suffocates, that drains, that leaves you feeling small. Love does not demand obedience. Love does not punish you for growing. Love does not require you to shrink yourself just to keep the peace. And so, when the time comes, you must make the hardest choice of all, to walk away, To let go of the idea that you can fix them, that if you just tried harder, things would be different. To accept that some people do not want to change because their power lies in keeping you exactly where you are. When you leave, they will try to pull you back. They will rage, they will plead, they will make you question everything. But hold firm, because the moment you choose yourself, the moment you finally break free, is the moment they lose their hold on you forever. And that, in the end, is the only true victory.